Episode 136. My name is Glenn. This is Yang. We're ready to go.
What's up?
What's up? We got a special guest today.
We do.
Great interview and great stories, I think, and different strategy, which I think people will be pretty pumped about it.
Yeah, something new, um, something that I heard of, but I never really paid attention to. I'm not going to say too much at the moment until we get into the interview, but we do have some things that we want to go over before the actual interview. Let's do our numbers. You want to go first?
All right. Let's see. Last 7 days, 47 products sold, 7 returns. And estimated royalty is $127.21.
Okay. For me, my last 7 days, 75 products sold, 10 returns.
What?
Right?
What happened?
I have no idea what happened. Product purchases, $1,455.34. Estimated royalties, $264.42. So again, it's no major changes really, except for the returns. But yeah, man. I mean, people say, this is the summer. That's why things aren't selling as well. You know what? We'll see. I mean, Q4 is coming up here soon, so we'll see how things do here shortly.
But I do think for August though, other sales like eBay, FBA, and all of that have been way better than the last.
Has
like,
it gone up on eBay?
Yeah, well, a lot better on both of those platforms. I think people are out of vacation mode. People are back to work, back to school. So I think we should only see numbers go up from here.
You know what? I guess I can. I guess I can vouch for that, and I tell you why. I talked about how I pretty much relaunched my Etsy store.
Mm-hmm.
I had mentioned that I deleted everything, and I just I relisted everything from scratch. And when I did that, it destroyed the algorithm for my store. I was getting no traffic whatsoever. Sales were, I'll be lucky if I was getting a sale like once a week. Now it's gotten to the point where I'm getting a sale at least one a day.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
I'm getting at least one sale per day on my Etsy store. And guess what they all are?
Something to do with Christmas?
No.
Oh. I don't know.
They're all crop tops, dude.
Crop top.
Everything's crop tops. I mean, and I have more than that listed. I have like tank tops. I have t-shirts listed. But for some reason, crop tops, man. The women love crop tops.
You should rock one for the next live show.
I will.
The podcast, yeah.
I'll rock one. Shoot. But yeah. So I would tell anyone, if you're gonna start an Etsy store, definitely offer crop tops because they've always been one of my best sellers.
So. Riled up, pumped up for those.
Yeah, so that's pretty exciting. But yeah, so I definitely see sales, more sales on Etsy as well. So we got a new message on the merch dashboard. Did you get a chance to see that?
Yes, I did.
Basically, they just came out with a whole new list of best practices, what to do, how to save your files, and all that. Color correction. I don't want to get too,
transparencies. And
I don't want to get too much into it. I mean, I think you guys should go read it yourself, but there's a lot of information that they provide. So I highly recommend everyone go take a look. Let me ask you something. This is something that I posted in the group, and I get really frustrated because as a entrepreneur, right, and I'm doing the whole air quotes here. Do you? And I honestly don't know with you. That's why I'm asking you.
Okay.
Do you prefer taking phone calls, emails, or text messages? Like what's your what do you prefer as far as doing business? What's your form of what do you prefer?
I do prefer email, because then I can make sure that it did come through and I could respond. Now, text, because my signal is kind of bad, where I live, I don't even get some of the text, so that kind of sucks. So
Hmm.
for sure, I don't like that. But I think for 100% clarity, on phone or in person. Now, I don't
Hmm.
want to do it necessarily, especially if like you're busy, they're busy, all these things going on. But if you need 100% clarity in where they're coming from, you can get a lot from hearing somebody's voice and their tone,
Sure.
what they want. I think you need that more than anything else.
Right. Okay. Because I got criticized last week for wanting to talk on the phone all the time, right? And it's like, and again, and this is something that I posted in the group, but and maybe it's me showing my age, but it's like, I'm the type of person where if you want to, if you're trying to have a whole conversation with me by text, after like the fifth text going back and forth, I'm done, man. I want to pick up the phone and let's talk, right? Because trying to have this conversation back and forth for like 20 minutes long by text, I think that's just stupid, right?
I mean, you don't want to be texting back short novels. I mean, that takes forever.
It's just dumb. So so I got criticized last week about wanting to talk on the phone all the time. And again, maybe it's me showing my age, but I'm the type of person where I want to do business. I don't care what it is. If you're doing eBay, whatever. I mean, I swear to God, man, if I could do eBay face to face, I would. But eBay is obviously ecom. Um, uh, but um, but yeah. So last week I got criticized for doing that, and maybe it's me showing my age, but I prefer doing phone calls, right? And then once we have our discussion, I want to send an email to have that paper trail.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. The confirmation saying, "Hey, we had this discussion." Just going back and forth for freaking 95,000 minutes by text. That's just dumb, right? It's stupid. And I don't, and I, and if and I know a lot of people responded and commented on my post, and if you're one of those people that prefer doing businesses strictly by text, please don't take this personal, but I don't see the point of doing something like that. Maybe you guys can try and explain it to me, but it's just I don't see the whole purpose of doing something like that. It makes just no sense to me.
I have a good example with the whole paper trail thing. Like you, you learned that. I learned that the hard way about being, I guess, paper trail stuff, going and working in the university.
Uh huh.
And when you have trust in people or coworkers or something, he said, she said stuff or agreement
Sure.
all in person, and then there's no follow up. Learn this the hard way. You definitely need just that last conversation in a
Oh
written
yeah, dude. No,
electronic
no,
version.
absolutely. And you know what? You bring that up. I had a similar situation like that happen to me where I had a discussion with the chair of our department.
Hmm.
And the chair of the department is a very, very at least in academia, it's a very prestigious position.
Hmm.
It's kind of like it's like the CEO of being, of a company. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So a chair of a department is like being a CEO of a company. Anyway, we had a verbal, like yourself, we had a verbal. This happened years ago. We had a verbal conversation. Um, I don't even know what the hell it was about, but there was no emails exchanged afterwards. And he had completely forgotten about the conversation that we had. Clearly, because he's always busy, right?
Yeah.
Like I said, as a chair, he's always busy, always having meetings, hundreds of meetings per week. Anyway, a couple of months had passed. No email had been exchanged, and he completely forgot that we even met. And he came back at one point and said, "How come this was never done?" Right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh, well, we talked about it a few months ago, right?" And he, in his mind, he was saying, "No, we never talked about it. I'm right, you're wrong." And it's like, how do you argue with someone in that position, right? That high of a rank. I just had to swallow my pride and be like, okay, I fucked up. even though I was in the right, right?
Yeah.
But like I said, I didn't have that paper trail.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Without the
but
paper trail, it's like it's kind of tough to fight that one.
right, and so that's just I was just wondering because it's just I don't know, man. It's just like I get it, man. I pick on the millennials a lot. I get it. That's a lot of you guys. Do Facebook Messenger, text. I get it, man. Look, I do it too. But when you're actually conducting business, I don't think that's the right tool to use.
Yeah, business
Just
stuff.
my own opinion. Okay, if you guys can take it, hate me for what I'm saying, so be it. But that's just my opinion. Um, let's see. I was watching Kelly Roberts live today for a quick minute or two. Uh, she brought up my name because one of the people watching had asked if merch is dead because they had heard me say that on a previous show.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to clarify something. Um, when I say merch is dead, uh, I'm not saying you're not going to make money from it. I mean, you can literally have that one shirt just go viral for whatever reason. Okay. What I'm saying is, it's gotten harder. The market is saturated. If you're making dabbing dog shirts, by golly, there's like 2,000 dabbing dog shirts now out there. Your design's going to get lost. So it's gotten harder. That's all I'm saying. You can certainly, again, be very successful, um, but the chances are um, it's going to be a very slow moving process for you to see some significant results.
This is what I think.
Uh
I
huh.
never said merch is dead. I don't think it's dead.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think, oh, I do agree with that it is harder. At the same time, I know there's people that are doing well
Yep.
and
Yeah.
they are 100% committed to that. And I feel with any platform, if you're expecting to do well and you want to do well, you better put in the time, effort, and work into
Yeah.
it. I mean, there was times where the very beginning, because merch was so new, and we've talked about this too. Maybe not a lot of people. Maybe they don't really know what's going on, where it's headed. Maybe the royalties are higher. I could make YouTube videos and also create designs and also sell stuff on FBA and managing different things. Um, and I wasn't fully focused on that, and I found success, but really I found success now in doing other things when I'm just straight up focused on it. And I think you have to take it that way with not only merch but with everything else
With anything,
if you do
absolutely, I
want to
agree.
see that success.
I agree. I agree 1,000%. Well said. And just one last thing before we get into the interview. Um, you remember Dave Cadoff,
Yes.
right? Good guy. This is something that's been going around the Facebook groups, and I just want to bring it up on the show. So Dave Cadoff is having heart surgery. I believe he's going in next week, and he has a GoFundMe page set up. It wasn't something that he set up himself. It was something that the community came together, and they're doing a fundraiser to raise money for Dave. And look, I totally get the fact that a lot of people don't like me. Okay, some people say they say that I'm brash, that I do a lot of trash talking. He picks on the millennials. Let's put all that aside for now. Okay, we're not talking about me. We're talking about Dave. Um, he he's been a very, very valuable asset to the community. He's he's pretty much, I mean, besides Ken Real, he's pretty much spearheaded the whole trademark watchdog movement. Um, and he's fighting the battle of going up against trademark trolls, and he's done
Mm-hmm.
a phenomenal job. Um, and he was one of the speakers at this past September in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
Just a really good guy. He never asked for anything, right? In fact, when I first met him, it was about a year and a half ago. He splits his time between Southern California and Las Vegas. Do you remember about a year and a half ago, I did that whole Southern California tour and all that,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I had gone out to Vegas. Um, and he actually met up with me both times in Southern California. He
Okay.
drove all the way out from Las Vegas to Southern California to meet up with me. Um, that's just the type of guy he is. And then when I was in Vegas, about a week later, he met up with me again. Uh, nice enough to buy me dinner. I mean, just a super nice guy.
Yeah.
Um, and he never asked for anything in return. And in fact, I remember watching the interview with him, and I can't remember what show he was on, but he was saying, "Look, I suck at merch." He was saying that he makes no
Yeah.
money doing print on demand because that's just how bad he is as far as coming up with concepts or doing research. But for whatever reason, he stuck around because, and I believe it's because of the community, because we have some really, really good people in the community. And he's fighting this battle as far as fighting trademark trolls. Um, and I know, look, and I'm guilty as many, where I talk about the trademark watchdog, but I don't participate as much. I'm totally guilty of it. I don't have a problem admitting to that. But even though Dave makes no money doing merch by Amazon or print on demand, he's fighting that battle um, against trademark trolls. Even though he's barely making anything doing print on demand, and you have to ask yourself why. And I believe it's because we have some really good people in the community,
Hmm.
um, and this is something that he doesn't have to do. And he's basically fighting that war for us, for people like me, who again I admit I should be more involved. Um, he's pretty much taking on that whole battle. Um, the point that I'm trying to make is this. We're trying to raise money for him. Um, I know for a fact we have thousands of listeners because I go in and I look at the analytics almost every week when I upload the episode. Um, if we can just get the listeners to donate just $10 each, doesn't even have to be $10, $5. And I know a lot of you guys spend so much more on other things, such as going out and drinking beers and lunch and dinner. But if you have just $5, oh man, please donate it to Dave's campaign. I will have that in the show notes. If you can do that, you're really helping out a great guy who's really, really a valuable member of the community. Um, seriously, he's done a lot for us, and it would really mean a lot to me. And I speak for both of us,
Yeah.
for me and Glenn, if we can just all come together as a community and just help him out just by donating just a little portion of your money.
You'll have
That would,
this in the show notes and everything then,
yeah,
right?
we'll have everything in the show notes. I know a lot of the Facebook groups have shared the link already, but again, this is just personal talk from me. Again, just I know I have a lot of haters. Let's just put that aside for now. We're talking about Dave. Please do what you can. Help him out. Um, let's get Dave back strong and healthy. I think he goes in next week, and we need to get him on the show as soon as he gets better.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. But we have a very interesting show today. I'll be honest with you, Glenn. I was going to talk to Greg more about local merch. I didn't realize where this conversation was going to go.
Oh,
Jesus, and it just the way he's doing things, it's just totally innovative, and it surprised the hell out of me. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, well, you'll definitely hear it in the interview because again, I wanted to talk to him more about local merch, and then he just brought up something completely different, and I think it's going to really, really intrigue all the listeners. So let's go to that interview now. All right, guys, we have an awesome guest. We actually had the privilege of meeting him a couple of years ago at the very first Merch by Amazon conference in Seattle, Mr. Greg Johnson. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, man. I apologize for not having you on sooner, but I've been meaning to talk to you. Uh, first of all, man, why don't you just give us a quick introduction? Your name, where you're from, how you got into merch, and how you like me the best. Just all that.
My name is Greg Johnson. I'm in Colorado, just outside of Denver, and I'm basically a full-time entrepreneur. One of my businesses keeps me about 80% busy, but I'm always playing with some other stuff. I do a lot of Amazon FBA and private label, and so found out about merch actually. What was that? 2017. From listening to you guys, honestly. Like, I think I heard Chris Green mention it somewhere, and then I started looking around for more info, and I found the Merch Minds podcast, like episode 3, and just kind of dove in for a while from there.
All right, good stuff. What tier are you on?
Right now, I think I'm on 6,000.
Okay.
It's merch is I haven't been too super active in it for the last year. So
no, hey, look, you don't have to explain yourself. We said this in the past. We talk to anyone, regardless of what tier. But we want to talk to people who take it seriously, and I know you're one of the people that do take it seriously because, again, we had the privilege of meeting you at the Seattle conference. But yeah, man. So we met you a couple of years ago. First of all, man, I have to say, Glenn, and tell me if I'm wrong. When we first met you, man, you were all dapper, man. You were all dressed up, and even now, man, you're even with the goatee, man. Everything's all clean cut and nicely groomed. You're a good looking guy, man.
You're not the first person to say that, Jan.
I know. This is my way of trying to hit on you.
No, you know what it is.
What is that?
I'll be honest with you. I'm really right at that middle age mark, and I'm just fighting as hard as I can. So, trying to remember to shower every day and stuff like that. So,
yeah, no, I can totally relate. But yeah. So just out of curiosity, do you do your own designs?
I've done a combination of both. So I did some of my own. I've hired designers. I've purchased pre-made designs, and I've worked with some other designers and put their stuff up, kind of like a partner situation. Mm-hmm. So I've kind of tried it all. I don't have that, I don't have a graphic design background. So when I do a design, I keep it pretty basic. I want to make sure that it's within my capability level.
Sure.
But yeah, I've done all the different ways to get something up on merch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Have you, I obviously know the answer to this, but for the sake of the show, I'm going to ask you, like I don't know, have you explored with local merch? And again, I know the answer, but just, I'm just playing.
Yeah. So yes, I actually have a few clients, where we're still selling stuff, and I'm giving them their royalties every month, but it's not huge for me. I think to really make that work well, you've got to get really, really serious about the sales part of it. And, for me, it just wasn't, it wasn't where my skill set was at the time. And I know some people are just killing it using that method and format. But I'm not pushing that as a main avenue right now.
Yeah, I think the strategy for merch, man, it's just there's different strategies that's always being thrown at us, and I don't know. I can only speak for myself, and maybe you guys can chime in here too. But I always go through phases, right? Because for instance, like a while ago, the hot thing was just upload as much as you can, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was a hot thing, and then Mike Wall came out of nowhere, and he said, "No, this is," and then he goes, "This is what I'm doing," and he introduced us to local merch, and then Ken Reels talking about licensing. So I'm always going through phases, man. Is that something that you kind of go through as well? And Glenn, I want you
Yeah.
to chime in as well. I know you haven't been uploading as much, but just chime in, please.
Yeah, anytime I see a new opportunity, I like to maybe test it out a little bit and see if it's a good fit. It can be really easy to just want to jump on every new thing, and I try to resist that tendency, but I do try to do a little test to see, hey, is this something that's going to fit with what I'm already good at? Can I plug it in without having to learn a whole new thing? So, yeah, I've looked at all these different opportunities that have come along, and for some people, it's a great fit, and for the most part, for me, I'm kind of sticking with what I was originally doing on merch. Just,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, what I've learned that the part that I think I'm pretty good at is like coming up with a good idea, right? Like, doing some research out there and just seeing, what it is that people are looking for, and then being able to come up with a new idea that kind of fills that same need, and then throwing it out there and seeing how it does. But, doing it that way, I've never been super great on volume. At one point I had 6,000 slots maxed out.
Wow.
They weren't very good. Right now I'm down to probably 800 live. So that tells you like my percent success rate. So I've learned that I'm not that great at the volume game. Like I can't make them fast enough myself to play that game. But I'm pretty good at like finding a way to slip into something that's already doing well, but putting a twist on it to where it's like it's not a copycat. It's not like a Me Too kind of thing. It's a new and different thing, but it's talking to the same people that are buying, what's already selling. So that's kind of how I approach it.
Yeah, just real quick, Glenn, I wanted to get your opinion.
Well, I think that with everything, things change, things evolve. So I think with trying to make money different ways on merch only makes sense. I mean, looking at merch from the very beginning and where they started from, no copyright type of things or trademark type of things. You can make whatever you want. The royalties
technically they had a copyright, but they were very lenient. They didn't know I don't even think they knew how to police something like that at that time.
Yeah, I mean, it was very new. I mean, they didn't know how it was going to, go into where it is. And same thing, I think, as a seller and as a creator, you have to try new things and see where it's going and evolve with it, just like you would any other platform. So I agree, I guess, in that part. I get, that whole part there. But I guess for Greg's, like you said, merch necessarily isn't the main thing you've been focusing on. So what is working for you now?
What I'm doing, so I've like I said, I've got this this business to business thing, kind of in the science laboratory space. That's most of my time. But online sources, I've scaled up my Amazon FBA big time this year. I got some good some good coaches and groups that have helped me to scale up what I was doing. So yeah, this year is going to be every single month this year has been my best month ever.
Really?
It's going really well. One of the things that I did just kind of to test out, and I'm pretty happy with it, is last November, I think, I took my two best selling merch designs and I put them on Amazon as private label FBA products. So I got them screen printed at like my local screen printer for $6 a piece, and bagged them all up and shipped them all in. And then I was able to use the advertising, the full on PPC advertising platform that third party sellers have access to. You can do, and I have a brand registered brand on Amazon, so I have more advertising tools than most people, which is even more than you can get through AMS. Last time I was in there, so I just went out there and just absolutely dominated on a couple of fairly high volume keywords for apparel. But dude, I took my one design and I had it ranked like in the top 10 for my main keyword by December. And that thing's been selling. I've been selling hundreds of units every single month ever since. I only have one color up, 3 sizes.
Nice.
I also have, so that the merch version of that design, I think has like 3 reviews on it. It's been up for 2 years. My private label one has 20 5-star reviews because I can email them and ask them for a review on it.
Right. But now, why do you think? I mean, first of all, I think that's awesome. You know what's crazy is, I actually heard people do that. It just never really dawned on me because now that it actually, now that you actually explained it to me, it totally makes sense. And I remember other people having talked about it off to the side, and to me, it was just one of those things I didn't really pay attention to. But why do you think it did so well when you had it screen printed and shipped in?
Well, I think it's a lot of things. If you put something in, if you create a listing through the third-party seller platform, first of all, you get more keyword fields, right? So in merch, we have brand, title, bullet point 1, bullet point 2, but inside of a regular Amazon listing, everything in the description indexes. You can write all 5 bullet points. You have 250 characters on the back end, plus some extra secret fields. You can do all kinds of weird promotions that you just cannot do in merch. So you can put coupons on it where you see that little green bar. It's like $1 off. You can run like promotions. You can do like special promotion links and give it to influencers. Like there's just so many ways to incentivize people to buy it just by manipulating the price. And being able to like push out ads targeting on those keywords. So, I mean, I lost money on the whole thing for like 2.5 months because I was spending really heavy on the ads and the promotions. Which is kind of what people are used to doing in like private label world. But yeah, right now, man, I just order like 300 shirts a month from my screen printer. I hate folding shirts and I hate sticking them in bags. So I got someone else doing
bagging.
Yeah, man, I'm paying a family member I'm paying him $17 an hour to bag and label all my shirts for me because I don't want to
$17 an hour.
Yeah, pretty generous.
Yo, you need to hire me.
That's how much I hate it.
Wow.
So then we ship those things in, and I'm honestly, like right now I'm making as much every month in profit on that one design private labeled as I'm making in my entire merch account every month. It's not a lot. Like right now I'm running like $400-$500 out of merch every month. And it's pretty much passive from stuff I uploaded 2 years ago. But yeah, man, this one other design, I got it going.
Let me ask you, Greg, is that something, I mean, I know you're probably doing your family member a favor just by hiring them to do something like that, but to make it more hands-off, is this something that you can actually have the actual printer do? Is that something that they'd be willing to do?
I've never asked them. Like they're pretty busy all the time.
Okay.
I don't think they have the capacity to do that for me. But again, it's just like, it was like, I didn't even price shop this. I just went to the printer that was like a mile from my house and set it up. And, so there's probably, there's screen printers in every single city. There's probably facilities that could do some packing and shipping for you. And you just be like, just hands off, just place the order, pay them. They print them and bag them and label them and ship them. I'm sure that would be doable.
Yeah. Glenn, did you have any questions?
So I guess going off of, so you have the private label thing going, and then merch, you're making money that comes in, like you said, designs you've had there. Entrepreneurship and other things, what else do you have going on? Or is that kind of like your main one is the private label?
Yeah, I bought another business this year. Right now, my wife, she said, you cannot bring any more businesses into this house so you get rid of one you already have. So, yeah, we had an opportunity we knew about a business where the owners were, they were wanting out and they were just going to shut it down, and then kind of realized that they could sell it. And it was just a super good fit for, something that my wife and I are kind of working on as a joint project. And it's so the FBA stuff right now is pretty automated. I'm still kind of throwing in more products and growing that, but we've been focusing on this new thing that we're doing, which I'll talk more about it later. It's still kind of
sure, yeah, absolutely.
But so it's kind of crazy, and just trying to manage all these little pieces when things start to get busy towards the end of the year is definitely a challenge.
Yeah,
but
Greg, going back to you sending your shirts in, and I apologize if you mentioned this already, and I just can't remember. Did you say you took one of your best sellers and you shipped it in?
I took my best selling on merch and shipped it in.
Okay, I got you. But even that was kind of a gamble, right? Because you had to, because
it's a new ASIN. I had to totally rank
you had
it
to
from
get this
zero.
design, go to a local printer and say, hey, I want 300 of these, 50 in small, 50 in large, 50 in large and extra large, and so on and so on. So that was, you had to come out of your pocket, like an X amount of dollars. And you said you didn't even see any of that money back until what, a few months later?
Yeah, I think I went pretty light on the initial inventory buy, but still, it was probably close to $1,000.
Okay.
To get it all in there, and then immediately I'm spending money on ads, and so it was every sale was basically break even, for the first month and a half. So I was replenishing inventory, so yeah, I was a little nervous about how that would go, but now I'm pretty sure that you could take any best-selling merch shirt and give that a shot, if you know what you're doing in the third-party seller world and how to get things moving.
I'm going to try that. Can you guys hear that? I got people texting me, and I'm being really distracted. I'm sorry, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to try and shut this down. But anyway, no, I think that's man. So I think that's clever of you for even having done that. So the strategy is you need to have money up front. It's not like merch where you can literally start for free.
Right. Yeah. You've got to do the inventory buy, and I think you've got to be willing to, you might spend a couple $100 on ads getting it moving. But if you can get it moving and you can get some of those reviews coming in, then after that, it's on autopilot. Like, I don't do anything to that listing. I just call up my guy and order inventory, and, they pull it off my credit card, and Amazon pays me back in 2 weeks. And it's like self-sustaining, $400, $500 a month right now. Just one design.
That is clever, man. That's, again, I recall hearing other people talk about something like that, but it just never dawned on me. Glenn, you think that's something that you would want to maybe experiment in? Because I know you've gotten back into doing FBA a little bit more.
I'm just focusing on what's working for me. I think that's like the most important thing. Like, once you're doing well on something, and that's what I think I want to ask you too, is like, when did you know what, I have 6,000 live shirts, I don't need to focus on this anymore. Like, there's something else that's going to work for me better than this.
Once I had 6,000 live shirts and none of them sold, that's when I think, I realized, hey man, this the money's great. Like, when I get paid for something that I did work on 2 years ago, that's awesome. But it's not my core skill set. Like, I can't reliably, consistently put up stuff that's going to sell. And so what I decided is, I'm going to kind of refocus my time on things that I know work, that I know I can always get paid on. And if I have a good idea, then I run and I go put it up on merch, and I'll do create a few listings out of my idea and see how it does. But I'm not uploading stuff just to upload stuff anymore.
Wow. Yeah. Well, you know what? You gave me a good idea. I think I'm gonna, and you know me, Glenn, I'm always trying some new and crazy stuff, man. I think what I'm gonna do, because you're giving me the idea now, Greg, to try and send in some of my best-selling designs. I think I'm gonna try and pull some best-selling designs off my Etsy store, and maybe get them printed locally, and then ship them in. in your experience, what's the best selling size? I'm assuming medium.
It depends on. So I'm using a men's Bella and Canvas shirt. So it's like the men's premium and merch.
Okay.
But I'm selling it as unisex because we all know that the women's Bella Canvas, like, you got to be a toothpick, right?
Right.
They don't fit.
Right.
So, but still, the fit on that is also a little different than our Port and Company like standards. So, for that particular design that I'm using, I'm selling like the men's, thing, but I'm selling it as unisex. And I happen to know that most of my customers for this are actually female. So it's females buying a men's cut. So just kind of keep that in mind. But sizing wise, large is actually top selling.
Okay.
Medium is second, and then extra large is third.
Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna try that, man. And I think that's really clever and very innovative of you to even think of something like that. So I'm definitely going to try that.
I got to tell you a quick story.
Yeah.
So I knew I wanted to try to use the third-party seller tools to get merch design selling, and I couldn't figure out how to do it without doing it this way. But I did try one other thing first. I ordered my own shirt from merch. It came in, and then I created a listing on the merch listing, right? So how if you're doing retail arbitrage, right, there's a listing that goes in and then you become one of the sellers on the listing.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did is I made myself one of the sellers on the merch listing, and I sent them back their shirt with my label on it. I just wanted to see if I could do that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because if I, basically, like, if the shirt's priced at $19.99, but then a third-party seller, this guy comes in and I'm selling it for $15.99, I should get the buy box from Amazon. And so if I got the buy box, now I can run advertising and just do all my tricks, but on the same ASIN that's already ranked. It didn't work. It showed up and like within like 12 hours, it was they had it like it was in this little red box in my inventory thing. It's like, I either had to recall it or dispose of it. Like you can't sell on merch ASINs. If anybody else has tried that, it doesn't work.
Okay.
It would have been awesome.
That's good to know.
So cool if you could do that, because you could just order 50 of your own shirts.
Right.
And, send them in, undercut Amazon just to push some promotions and ads, and then let Amazon take over at the higher price. Like once you boost your rank, it would have been awesome. But it doesn't work.
Yeah. But hey, again, man. Like I said, I mean, I'm sure you're probably doing your family member a huge favor for even doing. I mean, I think $17 an hour is super generous. But if you can find a printer locally that's willing to do something like that, I think that'd be gold.
Absolutely. If anybody finds a printer who is willing to do packaging and shipping for you, then yeah, man, you could scale this up.
Fast. I've been trying to talk. My good friend Manny, he's a good friend of the show. I don't know if you ever heard that episode of him doing the Etsy shop. I can't tell you what he sells because I promised him I wouldn't say anything. But he does. It's apparel, but it's more than just T-shirts. That's all I'm gonna say. But I'm trying to tell him. I was like, look, man, you need to find someone who can fulfill that for you, because what he does is he'll place a huge order, right? He gets the huge order, and then he has to fulfill each order separately, and he has to ship them out himself. And it seems like he doesn't mind, but I know time is really valuable to him, because recently, he had a kid, and he just bought a house, so he's really busy. So I was like, dude, you gotta find like a distributor or a printer,
right,
who can do something like that for you. Because like I said, if you guys find someone who's willing to do something like that, let me know too. Because shoot, I'm down to use them up myself.
Cool. Yeah,
that's good stuff, man. That's really innovative and a great way of thinking outside the box, man. I would have never even thought of doing something like that, but now I'm definitely going to give that a shot. And if it doesn't work, I'm blaming you. What do you think about that, huh?
Fair enough.
So last question. We know that these top selling designs, they were tested on merch, so you knew that they were doing well. So what are you doing for, let's say after these 2 or 3 top selling designs, if they somewhat start dying down, let's say next year after that, what are you doing to add new products that you feel are going to do well, and how are you going to test that out?
Sure. I'm getting ready to order 3 more designs. Basically, I have my next top 3 selling designs on merch. I'm going to get all of those screen printed, but I'm going to go a little bit wider on colors and sizes.
Okay.
And I'm going to basically try to get these moving for Q4 and see how I do. So I think it's just like merch. Like every design is going to have a life cycle. Some are more evergreen than others, but even like an evergreen design, like one particular thing, like it's still going to have like, this product lifetime. So I think any product is like that. So you just have to, do what you can while it's hot, but understand it's not going to last forever. So, honestly, like I put this one thing up and it got going and I'm like, man, that's cool. But I've only done that one so far. So I'm going to kind of circle back around and do some more this year, and maybe try to make like a little mini brand out of it and kind of run it that way.
Okay. We'll keep us in touch and informed on how you're doing. Again, I'm going to try and experiment with that as well. Just one last question from me before we let you go. Let's talk margins. Okay, so since we all know the Printful Amazon integration, one of the biggest complaints that I always hear is how expensive Printful is. Now, is your margins? I'm assuming they're much better.
Honestly, they're really similar to merch. So my cost of goods because I'm the Bella Canvas shirts are a little more than like the cheapest blank you could find. I think I'm paying an average of like $6.57 per shirt for the quantity I'm buying.
Okay.
And then I've got, my inbound shipping cost, which isn't, too terrible, even though, and I'm retailing them for about $20 most of the time.
Okay.
So, let me see. I think I can actually
just an average
that app. Yeah. I mean, I'm making like, between $4 and $6 a shirt, depending on my ad spend. So, I mean, it's about what we get for merch for selling for $20 a piece.
Sure.
A little better because I'm maybe making, standard margins, but I'm selling a premium t-shirt. So maybe an extra $1 in there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just got this idea in my head. I'm not going to share it with anyone. I'll tell you after the show here, once we stop rolling film here. But
all right. Well, hey, there's one more important thing about this strategy that people need to understand before they jump in, and you have to understand the keywords that are driving your traffic. You have to know where your traffic's coming from. So on this particular design, it's really funny. Like the design says something on the front of the shirt, right? And if you type that in, like there's like 1,000,001 merch copycats. None of them are selling shit because that's not how the customer is looking for the shirt. Like the customer, if we're going to use like funny cat shirt as an example, right? The customer's typing in funny cat shirt, right? And that's what I'm ranked in the top 10 for is funny cat shirt. But what my shirt says is like, it says, I don't know. I think it's something like,
completely different.
Something completely different.
Related to cats, though.
Exactly. And so all the merch copycats are think that that's their keyword, the thing on the shirt, but that's not how customers are looking for the shirt.
Sure.
So if you're going to do this on a shirt, you have to know where the volume is coming from, where your sales traffic's coming from, so that you can optimize your listing to go after those words and to optimize your ads to go after those words. I just wanted to throw that in. So I know that, there's a lot of tools out there. I think, pretty sure, my favorite merch tool, Merch Informer, has the keyword volume, capability now. So, whether it's that or another tool, like you've just got to know where the traffic is actually coming from. And I see this as a kind of a huge gap in the merch community as a whole is that a lot of sellers don't understand how volume comes through on certain keywords. And like that's why a lot of things have no visibility, is because they're being optimized for a term that nobody is looking for.
I was going to just say, if this is something you guys want to try, number one, you guys need a Seller Central account. And if you guys don't know how FBA works, it's a completely different beast. So I would say definitely do your homework before you dive into doing something like this. Otherwise, you're gonna get really discouraged. And Glenn, you know how FBA works. It's a completely different beast. There is a learning curve involved here. So I would say definitely do your homework. But man, hey,
Greg said the most important parts of it though is like the keywords and finding the screen printer. I think all that's probably going to be maybe your easiest thing compared to
if you guys,
how many like ads and testing you did on ads and money you put in on ads. I think that's going to be your number one, not necessarily problem, but you're going to have to really figure that out to make this work.
Exactly. And give yourself a little bit of time. Like it may not take off overnight, but if you get it going, it has so much momentum. Like I got it's hard to compete with a shirt with 20 5-star reviews. You know what I mean?
Right.
Even if I get copycatted, which, this one is copycatted quite a bit, but like nobody can touch it because there's no way to catch up.
Let me ask you, man. I see a bunch of shirts. That's not merch shirts. I see a bunch of shirts on Amazon with like 50 plus reviews. You think they're doing the same thing?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting, man. This is you learn something new every day, man. Seriously, this was a definitely a learning experience for me. Thank you, Greg, for your time. I know you're super busy. You was it 4th child last year?
We're on number 6.
On number 6. Oh my gosh.
You're behind, young.
Yeah, man. Hey. So I know you're busy, man. So thank you for dedicating the last 30 minutes just even talking with us, man.
Anytime,
really appreciate it. Super cool guy. Hey, let me ask you, man. This is just a personal question. Okay. Every time I talk to someone from Denver, I always bust their balls about this. Do you smoke pot?
I do not.
Okay, because I'll tell you what, I don't smoke pot either. But when we were out there a couple years ago, because it was legal, man, I tell you what, man, I looked like the Asian Snoop Dogg for about 2 days. Jesus, I was a hot mess. It was bad. It was real bad.
Oh yeah,
it was fun. It was fun. Good times for sure. Thanks again, man. It was fun.
No problem.
So I thought it was a great interview. He went totally. I know. Well, the question I asked him was just see what was working for him, and then the fact that it was something that he got from merch, and used that into what he's doing now. Extremely important. And
totally caught me off guard, man. I had a whole set of questions about local merch. I was going to ask him, and he just took a right turn and just changed the whole conversation. But that was awesome.
And he had good strategies too. I mean, the stuff that he learned from doing it. So
absolutely. Great interview. Thank you again, Greg. Again, guys, I want to just reiterate what we said earlier. If you guys have it in you, please go donate a few bucks for Dave Cadoff's GoFundMe campaign. I did mention in the Facebook group to anyone that donates a minimum of $10 that I will give you guys a set of KDP interiors that I'll make here within the next couple of weeks. Just, you know what, even if you don't donate, if you were to just message me and ask me for the templates, I'll give it to you anyway. But if you donate a minimum of $10, let me know, send me the receipt, invoice, whatever, and I'll make sure you get those templates. Again, just be patient with me. I have a lot of projects, but I'll finish those templates up within a couple of weeks.
There you go. Very nice. You're a kind man.
Good stuff. Other than that, man, I don't think there's anything else to talk about. Other than that, man, I'll see you next week.
Sounds good. See you.
Cool.